dips down into those defenders and is stopped on halfway. Fitzgerald to Wilson. Wood, the halfback's outside of him. Hone, the lock forwards there, and there's Coyne, Peter Coyne in the centres. Hone over the halfway mark. Slipping a pass back to Wilson. Wilson making a good break and getting his pass away well with the hooker backing up Fitzgerald. The neat play from Valleys, about 24 metres out from the Wynnum-Manly line. Hone is there. Out it comes to Ricks. A little kick and following through over the top. Look at Grant Ricks flying through. He's getting the ball. First he scored for Valleys. Well done, Ricks. Wynnum-Manly leading by 18 points to 6.
Well, in saying that, it's good to see Gene Miles back. It's also good to see this fellow back. Needed to be the man who's going to follow Wally Lewis's footsteps when he retires. Grant Ricks, a brilliant young player, and we saw why there. He reads the game so well. Got a great kicking game. No one at home for Wynnum-Manly. Look at this perfectly placed kick. Always had the drop on the opposition then. They had to turn and chase, and Ricks gets the perfect bounce, but of course it was the perfect kick. Great work from the young fellow, and Valley's just the answer they needed, of course. That'll put them back into the game because it'll boost their confidence. Wynnum-Manly have been riding roughshod for around about the last 10 minutes. Look at Ricks, spotted the opening and then put the ball there perfectly. Of course, when you kick it onto its point, the chances are it's going to bounce nicely for you, and that's exactly what Ricks did, and he was right on the spot to recover.
14 minutes before half-time. Can Booth kick this one right in front? Wynnum are leading by 18 points to 6. Booth's kick. And the flags are up, so it's 18-8 to the Seagulls. And Valley's trailing by 10 points, of course. Can they get back into the game? Wally Lewis restarts play with that deep kick. Down to Booth. And slips it on to Les Kiss. Crutch. Coyne, the front-on tackler, with assistance from Adams. Now it's Nello. Jamot gets to him first. Fitzgerald is there. Back to Coyne. Good kick from Peter Coyne, and it's an excellent kick. Beats Warren Green and into touch about 30 metres out from the Wynnum line. This is the fullback Booth. To the front row forward, and then to Walker, the other front row forward. That little kick over the top, and look at Boys racing. No, Boys gets the ball down and scores. Boys has scored, and it's 18 points to 12 in favour of Wynnum.
Well, Valley's got a new secret weapon now, Greg Walker kicking, and who would have expected it? You don't coach against that one. And Stephen Boys elated there. We've had 5 tries in the match, and 4 of them have come from kicks. And of course, it was expected that Valleys would have to use the kick to be able to breach this Wynnum-Manly defence. Nothing on for Walker, so he just puts the little left footer over the top. Caught Wynnum-Manly completely unawares, and Stephen Boys just motoring through, gets the perfect bounce again, untouched to score his first try. Here it is again, nothing really on there for Greg Walker, so he had to put the kick in. It looked like one-to-one defence, and Stephen Boys, ever alert to chase that ball. Loves scoring tries, Boys, and he's there on the spot again to get up another 4-pointer.
Booth's kick. Pretty good kick. It's coming back. It's an excellent kick. Hits the post. What bad luck. Just curled back in. 18 to 12 to Wynnum-Manly. Penalty to Wynnum-Manly with only a few seconds left. There's the half-time hooter.
Interesting to see what Lewis elects to do here after finding touch, whether he still is looking for more points in the first half, whether they put a little kick on or whether they decide to just go down with the ball.
Wynnum leading by 18 points to 12 as it comes across to Lewis, sends that long pass out wide to Gene Miles, flips it on to Scott over the halfway mark, and Scott is racing down there. He's got the winger Warren Green there, but it goes into touch, and that's it for half-time as we look at the scoreboard and we see that Valleys are down by 3 tries to 2, and Wynnum leading, of course, by 18 points to 12. In the scrum department, it's 4-all. The penalties go to Valleys 5-4, and at half-time, Wynnum-Manly leading by 18 points to 12. The fullback Booth restarts play. Warren Green. Tackled by Shane Kelly. It's Craig Adams in the dummy half position for Wynnum. Tackled by Kelly again. Across then to the halfback, and Ian French, the lock forward, coming through.
A look at the defensive performances of both sides in the first half. Wynnum-Manly have had to make 75 tackles in the first half, with Gary Coyne the top tackler so far in the match.
kick downfield comes down to Booth.
Valleys, on the other hand, they've been make 68 tackles, and Fitzgerald has been their top tackler, the hooker for Valleys. He's made 13, and significantly, there's been no tackles made by the wingers so far in the match, so neither side's been able to or have wanted to get the ball right out to the flanks.
And Stephen Boyes in possession on his own quarter line. This is Fitzgerald. Good little run up the middle, picks up a few metres. Next week in the major semi-finals, brothers are in all 3 grades. Brothers will play Souths in the 3rd grade, Redcliffe in the reserve grade, and Souths in the A grade. That's next week's major semi-finals here at Lang Park. As it comes back to Coyne, slipped across then to Walker, and here's the 5'8" Wilson over the halfway mark, pass back into Wood, goes astray, picked up by Fitzgerald, but the knock on to be played on halfway.
Well, Valley's there showing they're prepared to run the ball and found a nice gap in the middle of the ruck. Peter McQuarrie would have had plenty to say at half-time, but he would have been satisfied with the good comeback from Valleys. They were down 18-2 halfway through the first half, and I'm sure he's instilled in his players that all they have to do is keep going the way they were in the latter part of that first half, and they can still win the match.
On the Manly ball, Lewis, and it's a penalty against Valleys offside, particularly the full-back Booth, and so from halfway, Wally Lewis will kick for the line. Finds touch, a good kick from Lewis too. That takes play only about 12 or 13 metres out from Valley's line. Wynnum leading 18-12. Ball handed to David Green, the captain of the Wynnum side, across to his halfback Dawes, and here's Coyne. Tackled by Nella and Walker. Dawes, onto the ball comes Lewis, leaving it behind, juggles it and gets across the line and puts it down. That's an incredible try by Wally Lewis. And Wynnum-Manly lead by 22 points to 12.
This guy's unbelievable. What a just an incredible try. Really words fail me there, because he'd overrun the ball. He got there very late. He realised he had to get into position, then was there too early for the ball, then juggled it, was still 4 or 5 metres from the line, just spun around, reached out and scored the try. No one else would have scored that try other than Wally Lewis, because he had his wits about him the whole time. After juggling the ball, he had every right then to think, well, he was going to get hit heavily, but instead reaches out, uses his full reach and gets across right on the line.
Warren Green has it set in front. Wynnum have scored 4 tries to 2, and there it is. And Wynnum lead now by 24 points to 12.
Des couldn't have hoped for a better start to the second half, and he'll be relying on his big guns now to go on with the job after establishing a 12-point lead.
And the kick by Booth goes down to Scott. Colin Scott up to the quarter line and clears it by a few metres. Tackled by Hone and also Greg Walker, that kicker with the left foot who set up the try just before half-time. Dowling. Back to Lewis. Cross for the line and trapped soccer style by Boyes. Did a good job of the 2 as he takes it up to the halfway mark. Stephen Boyes, the Valley's right winger.
He's injured.
And injured.
Boyes in a lot of pain. Of course, he went into the match with an injury cloud, did Stephen Boyes, and it could well be a recurrence of that injury. There it is, hit heavily in that tackle there by Warren Green. As I was saying a little while ago, the wingers haven't had a lot of work to do in this match. And of course, that was a very powerful tackle from Warren Green.
Playing it back to his hooker, and across it comes to Shane Kelly.
Scott Shalosky coming right around the field now to replace Stephen Boyes, who's just left the field, and Shalosky has now just taken the field.
This is Fitzgerald. Just inside Wynnum-Manly territory. It's Kelly in the dummy half position. Wilson.
There he is, Scotty Shalosky.
And Wood. Fitzgerald. To Wilson. Nello. Good break. See that player was in front of him in the offside position, so rightly went down with the ball.
Stephen Boyes leaving the field, and obviously a lot of pain.
Bad luck for Steve Boyes and for Valleys too, for that matter, but they haven't had a lot of luck in this game. Across it comes to Walker, and Greg Walker starting to motor down there, can't get away from the lock forward. Yes, does it work on the Kiss. Kiss starts racing for the corner. There's a try coming up for Valleys, and Les Kiss has scored. Wynnum-Manly leading by 24 points to 16.
What a brilliant try, but on a sound note, we've got Grant Ricks down in play. He got a brilliant pass away firstly. Kiss went on, of course, and did the job nicely. But let's have a look at it on replay. There's Grant Ricks getting the ball away. That's where he twisted his leg. He looks to be in a bit of trouble. Greg Walker, once again, figuring in Valley's try, but this time not kicking. Dummies one, then still goes on with the job. Then beautifully finds the pass to Les Kiss, and this fella's a great ball runner. One of the buys of the season, Les Kiss. Very fast across the ground. A little in and away. Colin Scott too late, and great answer from Valleys. Let's have a look at it again. There's that good pass from Greg Walker. Fine front rowers play because he just managed to get his hands free. Away to Les Kiss then. Look at the beautiful stride on this fella. There it was, just away a little bit, and then Colin Scott was never going to get to him.
Michael Booth, a difficult conversion attempt. Wynnum has scored 4 tries to 3 now. It's a long kick for Booth. Wynnum leading 24-16. They're important points for Valleys. It's a pretty good attempt and waved away.
Here's Valleys reserves, fresh reserves, of course.
Penalty against the Wynnum-Manly front row, collapsing the scrum. Penalty to Valleys.
Couple of fresh reserves anyway there for Valleys because of course their reserve grade played in the match before this one and South defeated them, so there'll be a couple of fresh reserves on the Valleys bench and also some players who would have been backing up from the reserve grade match.
Penalty kick taken by Peter Coyne. Hines touch on the Wynnum-Manly quarter line. Wynnum-Manly leading 24-16. They've scored 4 tries to 3, but they have this 8-point lead. Now, Fitzgerald decides to have a go himself, slips a bit in that wet patch. David Green over the top, and Craig Adams was the first one in for the tackle. Now, Greg Walker's there. The pass to Kelly went astray, but picked up by Wilson, the 5'8". Fitzgerald and Nello. David Green was the first man in for the tackle. Assistance from Dawes. Across to that blind side now. The halfback holding up, giving it on to Hone. Hone then to fullback. Booth. Mark Holmes into the dummy half position. Wilson turning it back again to his halfback Wood. 12 metres short of halfway. Sort of Wynnum-Manly line, I should say. Now there's Coyne's bomb. There's pressure on Wally Lewis and company, and knocked down and knocked back too far and over the dead ball line.
Yes, a few of the Valley supporters calling for a penalty there, feeling that Coyne was knocked down after kicking the ball. Manson saw the incident and decided it wasn't worthy of a penalty, and a restart now from the 22. He's also decided there that's obviously come off a Valley's player. There's the incident. There was Coyne. Certainly wasn't going to get through that wall of players, but whether he was actually ran into them or not, another thing. Certainly the ball then has been decided that it went dead off Valleys and not off Wynnum-Manly for the 22-metre restart.
And here's Coyne, the front row forward for Wynnum, taking it up to Dawes, and Dawes about just on the halfway mark. So they've made good ground to get it up to there. Across Jamot, Lewis outside of him, further across to Ian French, and there's Gene Miles over the halfway mark. Good low tackle from Coyne, assistance from Wood to put Miles to ground. Now Jamot on that blind side, the second row forward, losing the ball in the tackle, picked up by Valleys, and it's Coyne, Peter Coyne in possession. There's Kiss up into the dummy half position, just short of halfway, and decides to have a run from there. Over the halfway mark, Butler and company hold to him. David Green is the other tackler in there with Butler, and now Mark Hone. Fitzgerald and across to Wilson from the halfback outside of him. The Booth's into the movement, bumps away from one player, it was Dawes, but can't get away from Coyne, gets the ball back in the tackle, picked up by Wood.
Interesting to see that Brothers camp there is here today to watch this match, and of course Brothers play in the major semi-final next week. There's Ross Strudwick, Trevor Bailey, Russell Klein, most of the Brothers players, and Henry Foster of course there as well, Joey Kilroy. They'll be interested to see this match, and I don't think they would have been overly impressed by the defence really of either side. I think both sides have been somewhat a little bit disappointing in defence, and their attack really has looked good through some somewhat disappointing attempts at tackle.
Still in Valley's territory, Fitzgerald. Dummies on, Nallor. Losing the ball. Picked up by the other Valley player racing through there, Chalofsky, but to knock on to be played, so we'll have the scrum.
Valleys want to be careful they don't get a little bit carried away with their open play. They're trying to push the ball a little bit too often now, and the pass is going astray. They've still got plenty of time to win the match.
Wynnum-Manly ball, 23 minutes remaining. Dawes tackled by Wood and Co. Home the other tackler, Warren Green, Lewis, and here's the fullback, Scott.
Interesting there that Lewis had to tell Scott to get in the line. He wanted him to run the ball. Scotty wasn't interested.
And this time we have Adams, tackled by Nello, and Hone. All the blonde-headed fellas in there, just over the halfway mark. This is Coyne, Jamot. Pass out wide, Ian French, the lock forwards, can't get away. Held by the ankle by Coyne. Walker was the other tackler in there. Now Lewis. Dragged down by the little hooker. With assistance. Now Gary Coyne puts that left foot to it. A lot of pressure on Michael Booth. Takes it well. Valley's fullback, slipping it back to Kiss. Now look at Kiss, changing direction, gets away from Lewis, up towards the halfway mark. He looks for the support, and there it is in Ricks. Ricks over the halfway mark, but he can't get away. A very good tackle indeed. Some good play then from Valleys. Brett French was the tackler and holding to him and not letting him to get up to play the ball, understandably so too. And Wynnum-Manly, 5 players off, up inside the 5 metres. It's a penalty to Valleys.
Well, David Manson there left it for as long as possible. He's going to play the advantage, and Valleys had plenty of advantage with a quick play of the ball. Finally got to play the ball then, but then Wynnum-Manly well offside in that play of the ball and had no option then but to give the penalty. And Valleys looking good.
Peter Coyne finds touch just outside Wynnum-Manly's quarter line. Valleys are trailing by 8 points. Wynnum-Manly leading by 24 points to 16. Now Scott Chalosky up into the dummy half position. And Valleys keep the momentum going. Across it comes to Woods. Short pass to Walker, bursting through, gets a pass back to Wilson. And the 5'8", taking that short pass from Greg Walker. Is tackled only about 9 metres out the line. Fitzgerald is there. Then to Wood. Wood holding it up. Then to lock forward. Hone bursting onto the ball. Valleys playing a bit like men possessed now in this last minute or so. Can they score points from here and get closer to Wynnum-Manly? On it comes now. Here's Nello hitting the line hard. 10 metres out. Fitzgerald, the hooker, is there. They work the blind side to Coyne, the centre, changes direction, but can't get away. As over the top come the Wynnum-Manly player. Brett French was the first man into the tackle. The other one in there was Adams, the player who went right over the top. Now we see the pass come back, and there's Ricks putting his boot toward that bomb into the goal post. It's a pretty good kick too. Loose on the ground. It's anyone's ball. We wait to see who comes up with it. Must be a Wynnum-Manly ball.
Referee very late on the scene there. Valleys at one stage appealing for a try, but it took some good cover there from Warren Green and Tony Jamon. Let's have a look at it again. All of them went up. That was McCabe over the top again with another Valleys player just obstructed. And certainly the referee very late on the scene would have found it difficult to spot whether or not there was a try scored. Peter McWhirter living in hope at the moment. The score 24-16. There's still a chance, and they're throwing everything at Wynnum-Manly.
Wally Lewis to restart play. 18 minutes left in the game. Wynnum-Manly leading by 8 points, 24-16, over the halfway mark. And this is Grant Ricks having only his second game back after that serious knee injury.
Lewis starting to get more involved now. He's going to have to get this Wynnum-Manly ship back on the ways, and there it is, an attempt to get the ball back, but Valley still is.
Yes, well, Lewis won the ball for Wynnum-Manly, and then Wynnum-Manly couldn't take advantage of it, so it's a Valley's ball with 6 to go as the hooker onto Hone, and Hone putting plenty of effort into it. Well tackled by David Green, the Wynnum skipper, and hooker. This is Nello. Nello looking to get it back, and does so to Kiss on the wing, and Kiss sees the gap, and he's through it quickly over the quarter line. Kiss just breaks through. He's got support inside. Here's Fitzgerald, gets it back inside now. Can he put the ball down? And its ball went forward just as Coyne came racing through.
Gee, if Valley's ever deserved to score a try, that was it. They've applied all the pressure in the last 5 minutes or so. The crowd booing there, and there wasn't a lot in it either. Look at Les Kiss once again, breaking tackles, then plenty of elusive running. Paul Fitzgerald has had a blinder of a game today, then fires the ball over the top, just touched there by Wilson, but the ball had gone forward in that movement, and on this occasion, Manson on the spot.
Wynnum ball, Dawes in possession, tackled by Hone. So Wynnum keen to clear their line. just seeing a change here now as we see Tony Jamott leaving the field.
Craig Ferrugia.
Craig Ferrugia is the new player on the field. Wynnum-Manly playing it back to Dawes, into Miles, slipping, and that slippery spot there gets away from one player for a moment. Put down, it was the hooker that got round his ankles. Butler in possession for Wynnum-Manly, put under a lot of pressure by the bottom team Valleys today, even though they lead by 8 points. Dowling. There's Craig Ferrugia in the dummy half position. Lewis.
All on. Down. They're all on.
And picked up by the Wynnum-Manly. Oh, no, Valleys ball. Wilson. Ricks. And this is Chalosky. Replaced the injured boys earlier on. Turning out to be a really good game. There's been a lot of action and movement in this game, but it's getting harder as the game goes on. This is Shane Kelly, the Valley front row forward, picked up by Ferrugia. Hounds into the dummy half position. Wilson. Wood. Ricks. Sees the gap. Look at Ricks. What a great player he is. Up he comes to the corner line. Ronnie Lewis is there to have him covered and make sure he doesn't get away. He knows what a danger player he is.
Skolowski was taken out of the play in the back play.
And left on the ground too. Across it comes to Wood. Further across now to Wilson, to Coyne, to Wilson again. Wynnum under a lot of pressure from Valleys. The final tackle.
There's Morris Worry down on the bench now, calling the shots from on the bench.
There's the kick from Coyne. Scott's underneath it. Can't take it. Loose on the ground. Valley picks it up. Yes, it's a try to Valleys. McCabe.
He chases those kicks well, Peter McCabe. Every time Valleys have put up a kick, he's been the man who's been trying to get under it, and his efforts have finally been rewarded with a great try from Valleys. And really, all the Valleys team has been rewarded because they have been at Wynnum-Manly for the last 15 minutes. Here it is again. We've got another try coming from a kick. The high ball up. Colin Scott couldn't take it. McCabe just touched it, and then there was a bit of a grab for the ball between two Valleys players. McCabe ended up with it and grounds the ball right beside the post. There's Morris there on the touchline, still very concerned. He'd be more concerned now than he ever was. Peter Coyne puts it up, coming down just in the field of play. There's McCabe coming through again. Scott goes up for it, gets his hands to it. The ball falls onto the ground. McCabe there just grabs it out of the clutches of Scott Chalosky and scores a fine try.
Michael Booth attempting to kick in front. Wynnum leading by 4 points, 24-20. Important 2 points to Valleys, and the flags are up. It's 24-22, and the game can go anyway with 14 minutes left in the match.
There we are, Des Morris sitting down. Of course, he's in front. He can take solace in that fact, but Peter McWhirter there standing, and obviously would love to see Valleys get one against the head.
Wynnum-Manly ball. Wynnum-Manly with 6 minutes to play, lead by 24-22. Scott's in there. Tackled by Wilson right round the ankles. Assistance from Booth, the fullback. Wally Lewis, dummy half this time. Out it comes to Ferrugia. Further across then, Brett French in the centre. A swarm of Valleys defenders there for French.
Wynnum-Manly forwards walking away from that scrum.
Across to Dawes and Gene Miles. Fitzgerald was the tackler. Now we see Coyne getting it back to Adams, on to Lewis. Lewis over the quarter line, gets a good pass across there to Ian French. French bursting through. French will get by for the line. Lost the ball. He lost the ball. That's incredible. He is about to score and has lost the ball. There was the chance for Wynnum-Manly to seal the game with 5.5 minutes left.
Michael Booth seated there on the ground, and he was the one who just got his hands to Ian French. Looked like he could score it himself. Broke out of one tackle. Then Michael Booth came to him. Then he got past him and just got a hold of the ball, dragged it clear, and that was the try line right in front of him. Well, we've got two injured players down now, both Wynnum-Manly. Here it is again from the head on. There's French breaking through the first tackle, and then just Booth grasping at the ball. That's desperation stuff. Great work from the captain, inspirational stuff, and Valleys live again. Gee, Valleys have really covered themselves in glory this afternoon. Some really fine performances by the fullback Michael Booth. Grant Ricks, what a return to A grade. He's been out for 13 weeks with a serious knee injury, and he came back brilliantly. He's almost snatched the game for Valleys a couple of times. They're not dead yet. There's still 3 minutes to go in the match. Mark Wilson also had a fine game, and as I said, Paul Fitzgerald has tackled everything that moved.
And we look at the details. The scrums favour Wynnum-Manly by 10-7. The penalties go to Valleys 8-5. Scrum penalties 1 each. And 4 tries to each team. At half-time, Wynnum-Manly led rather by 18 points to 12, and Wynnum-Manly now lead by a slender 2 points. 24-22.
Replacement's getting ready there. Looks like Terry Jenner for Wynnum-Manly. He's getting ready, and of course Scott Lewis has already come onto the field as a replacement.
Now this is an injury requiring the stretcher.
Daryl Jenner, I should say, yeah. Stretcher there, that's bad news. Greg Dowling got a look of it.
Yes, Greg Dowling, he's been on the ground there for some time behind the play, and certainly bad
luck concerned there by one of his internationals, and here comes Daryl Jenner onto the field as the replacement. Of course, Wynnum-Manly with all fresh reserves. Their reserve grade side was knocked out of the semi-finals, so they've got the luxury of a number of fresh reserves, and Daryl Jenner has come on. There he is, number 15.
Jenner can quite often, coming on late, can inject a lot of thrust into Wynnum-Manly, as we saw him a couple of weeks ago here in the last game we televised, as Greg Dowling is about to be carried off the field.
See, that's rotten luck for Dowling because he suffered a very bad leg injury there a couple of years ago, broke his leg very badly, and then came back stronger than ever to play for Australia. And it's a shame to see such a great player now obviously seriously injured.
Well, certainly we hope it's not, but that's the way it appears at the moment, isn't it? But,
of course, interesting too, Arthur, here with 24-22. Should Valleys be able to get even 2 points up and a draw, it would be extra time. And the way Wynnum-Manly have looked, they have really looked like they've been walking around for the last 20 minutes of this half. So Valleys seem to be the side that's running on the strongest. There's brothers, Ross Strudwick there, talking about the tactics that both sides have employed today. And as I said a little bit earlier, there's Greg Smith in front of him. He's been a key player. Greg Smith, of course, coming in at 5'8". And of course, Greg Dowling leaving the field and getting a fine round of applause for a sterling effort that he's put up this afternoon. 3.5 minutes. Can the Diehards do it?
4 tries to each team. 3.5 minutes left. Greg Dowling just carried off the field. Play about to resume. 30 metres out from Valley's line. Referee not satisfied. And that goes. Valley ball. Penalty, Wynnum-Manly.
Hasn't been many scrum penalties in the match either. 2-1 now in favour of Wynnum-Manly, so there hasn't been many scrum penalties, and that one none more vital. Wynnum-Manly now, a differential penalty, of course, must, well, they can't kick for goal. It would be presumed that Lewis will find touch a little bit further downfield, and Wynnum-Manly will try and play out time.
And Wally Lewis finds touch, only about 14 metres or so, 14 or 15 metres out from Valley's line. So Wynnum in this very strong attacking position. David Green gives it to Dawes, his half-back, and here comes Adams. Craig Adams to play it back to Dawes, the half-back, and decides to go himself. Only a few metres out. Fitzgerald the tackler. Green. Referee blowing the whistle for the knock-on. They detected a little knock-on, so a scrum to pack down.
Wynnum-Manly, it's hard to see a player that's really played to the peak of his ability today, and the only player that I can really put my finger on, I think, is Wally Lewis. Scored 2 tries, put the bomb up for the other 2, but Wynnum-Manly's 4 tries, and had Wynnum-Manly not had Lewis on the field, I don't think they'd be in front at this moment.
2 minutes left in the game, and a loose arm in the scrum from the Wynnum-Manly hooker David Green. Penalty to Valleys, which gives them the chance to kick downfield and then take the second kick and get put a lot of pressure on Wynnum-Manly. That takes it out past the 22, about 24 metres out. Fitzgerald is there, and straight on to Bob Arnold. Up he goes, 30 metres out from their own line. Fitzgerald is there. Will they spin it wide? It's Walker. Crunch. Jenner, one of the tacklers, in there with Ferrugia to put Greg Walker to ground. Fitzgerald's into the dummy half position. Wood and Coote to that little kick over the top. Then comes Coyne, not picked up by Lewis. Beautifully picked up Wally Lewis, and he could set things alight from here, but spins in the tackle and put to ground. Only about 24 metres out from Valley's line. And injured players, play to be stopped. Ricks it is, I think the injured player looks to be Grant Ricks, the centre for Valley's, injured as he was tackling Wally Lewis, who's showing quite a bit of concern for Ricks.
Of course, Lewis, an ex-Valley's player, of course, Wally Lewis. This is his second year with Wynnum-Manly. As I was saying a little bit earlier, my Winfield Cup man of the match, Wally Lewis. He's scored the 2 tries, set up the other two with his bombs. Of course, they were fairly lucky ones with Greg Dowling scoring both. And I think it's been the dictative play of Lewis. He's concerned in defence on a couple of occasions, a couple of try-saving tackles in cover defence. And Wally Lewis has shown what a great player he is, and he's ensured, at least at this stage, that Wynnum-Manly, with only 1 minute and 17 seconds to go in the match, that they should be in the preliminary final in 2 weeks' time against the loser of Brothers or Souths.
Yes, the big game here next week, the major semi-final, Brothers and Souths. That's in A grade. Brothers, of course, playing in all 3 grades. Brothers play Souths in reserve grade in the 3rd grade, and Brothers play Redcliffe in reserve grade.
Thought Gene Miles quite impressed this afternoon too, Arthur. His running at least was particularly good. He looked good when he ran with the ball, but certainly in defence he's not quite as committed as what he was.
David Green's in a dummy half position behind Jenner. Back to Coyne. Coyne standing, plenty of time to look for a support, but couldn't unload. The last tackle, David Green there, 12 metres out from the Valley line. Here's Wally Lewis with a field goal attempt, and it's a pretty good attempt. It's there. The flags are up, and so Wynnum-Manly go to a lead of 25 points to 22. A clear 3 points in front.
Only seconds remaining, only 20 seconds to go in this match. There's Lewis again, the ball coming back, cool as you like, straight between the posts. So Lewis has really stamped his class on the match, and he's also made sure that his class got points for the Seagulls.
And Booth restarts play as the countdown comes from the crowd, and it runs into touch. And the hooter about to sound. There's the hooter. And that's it for the ball game, with Valley out of the competition altogether. Wynnum-Manly will fight again in the preliminary final. The winner of next week's match between Brothers and Souths. Wynnum have won by 25 points to 22. Now for details of the Big League Winfield Cup Try of the Series competition.